day I wake up is another blessing. Thankful every second, getting God's protection. I lost connection in the desert, I had no reception. But in that time alone, I probably learned 1,000 lessons. I used my time for introspection and some self-reflection, and analyzed a couple ways to conquer my depression. Everything doesn't happen the way we plan it to, but if we harvest energy, then we can plan it too. So take a look in my eyes, that's where the story...
Alright, we are back with another reaction to Spawn Wave. Apparently, there's a new Sony handheld coming out, or being thought about being made, or whatever. I don't know. We're about to find out what the heck is going on. Is a new Sony handheld going to come out? This one was legit. I still play this one. It's just, you know, they messed it up with the whole proprietary memory card thing. Y'all know. I don't gotta tell y'all. Remember, this video will be linked in the description. Go show Spawn Wave some love by liking the video if you like it. Alright, let's get into this. Sony's new handheld. What's going on?
So in the last video, we talked about Sony and the potential for them releasing a new handheld of some kind. And we kind of went back and forth on the idea of them releasing a successor to the Vita, but now it appears it is going to be some sort of remote play or cloud device, and we got a bit more information as to when we could even expect it to come out, as it seems like some of the sources around this are becoming more and more confident that this is an actual thing that's going to come to market, and wanted to go over that here today, as well as maybe a different perspective to take on this strange device that Sony is going to do. Guys, if you enjoy these videos, make sure that like button. And if you're new to the Spawn Wave Plus channel, make sure you subscribe it down below.
A cloud device? Like the Xbox thingy that they're coming out with? The Xbox stick that you can just plug into the TV? And you could use the cloud, I forget what it's called. Game Pass? xCloud on it? Is that what they're trying to do?
So let's head over here. This is over on WCCF Tech, who transcribed and went through an episode of the Iron Lord podcast that Tom Henderson did appear on. Of course, Tom Henderson being the original source at this point of this Q-Lite device from Sony, that being a remote play handheld system. Essentially an 8-inch tablet-looking device with...
Wait, this is not even cloud play? This is remote play? Just remote play? Meaning it just connects to your PlayStation?
A DualSense controller split in half. Picture that, one side on either end of it. All right. What will happen is it will then communicate directly to your PS5 and basically play what your PS5 would normally have up on the TV, but on this 8-inch display. 1080p, 60 FPS.
We could do that with the Vita and the PS3 and 4.
But during this podcast, Tom Henderson said his sources believe the Q-Lite will be released this November alongside a slew of additional Sony hardware, which does include that rumored PlayStation 5 Slim console that would have a detachable disc drive. That on its own sounds kind of weird, right? But you can also at least make sense of that with Sony looking around and saying, well, we don't want to have...
What? They're making a console with a detachable disc drive. That's dumb. Like, why? Like, you just got stores stocked with the PS5 and now you want to come out with another PS5 with a detachable... You have a PS5 with a disc drive in it. Why would anybody want to buy a detachable disc drive? Y'all let me know in the comments. Y'all think that's a good idea? Because I don't. That sounds stupid.
We have two different SKUs of this system. We just have one, and then we just have an optional disc drive that will help when it comes to shipping, weight, size, all of this. And we won't have to worry about, okay, do we produce this many disc drive units or this many digital PlayStation 5 units. You release one, and then you just ship around any of these extra disc drives that people can buy separately as you need to. And you can
Why
technically
didn't they just
introduce
do
the
that from the beginning?
PS5 at like a new introductory price point of $400 across the board then, rather than say, oh, the digital version is $400. No, the one SKU we produce now is $400. The rest, that's
I
just
see
an
what they
add-on.
doing. So for the PlayStation 6, whenever that happens in the next, 7 years, they're only gonna make a digital version and have the disc drive on the side. So they don't have to make both a disc drive and a digital version. Which I guess that makes sense, since physical is kind of dying. But I still like my physical, so I guess that works. I don't know.
But this Q-Lite device would be showing up alongside of that, and apparently headphones or earbuds is what was being discussed. I don't doubt that either, because we have seen Sony kind of have their own line of things like monitors that still lines up with the color scheme and the marketing with the PlayStation 5. So having little earbuds, why not? It's another accessory that you would tack on to the
Sony
system.
PlayStation Buds.
That's kind of how I'm going to be viewing this Q-Lite device if it does actually come to market. Not necessarily as a system separate to the PS5. I'm going to kind of view it as we do with a controller, maybe even like the DualSense Edge, which sort of brings it to how much would this thing actually be in terms of pricing? Well, Tom Henderson did start to speculate on the podcast. It is kind of coming to the determination that myself, and I'm sure many other people are.
Let's see. For just the remote play, all it does is remote play. So that means all it does is hook up to your PlayStation, and you could go anywhere in the house with Wi-Fi and play it on this device. $100.
Is that if this thing is too expensive, it's not going to make sense for most people, and they're just going to kind of walk right past it. I think the price point has to be fairly aggressive for this thing to gain any kind of traction, which to me means that it would come out and be $200 or less. I've seen some people wonder if it could be $100 or less. I don't believe so, considering the backbone attachment for your phone is $100. And that's just
that's right, because you could just do the controller to the phone and use your phone as a for remote play. I forgot you could do that. Can you still do that? I know you could do it on the PS4. I don't know if they have it for the PS5, because I don't have one. I need one. Someone send me one, please. Anywho, but they might get rid of that if they're coming out with this thing to try to get people to buy this thing.
Basically a little controller that snaps around your iPhone and lets you play the PS5 cloud-based remote play stuff a bit better than if you would use a touch screen, right? So in that case, I think they would at least price it in accordance with the backbone controller being the cheaper option, and this would most likely come in, I would assume, at the $199.99 range, right at $200. If it's more than that, and it's closer to what Logitech launched their G Cloud,
nobody's gonna buy that thing.
I believe that was $300 when
it's
it came out.
$200,
I mean,
nobody's gonna buy that.
Everyone looked at that and said, "Okay, that feels way too expensive." Even though it does have more
somebody's
features than
gonna
what's
buy
being
it, but
described for this, because
you
that
know what
came
I mean.
loaded with just Android, so you could do a lot more with it. People were running emulators and stuff on it, which sure, but in this case, it seems like this will be locked down, as well as Sony can keep it, because I'm sure people will look into it and see if they can modify it or hack it or something, but I don't think it's going to ship with any kind of chip that is that strong or anything, and it's a way most likely for them to have better battery life and also make it cheaper. So you bring this device out at $200, which actually sits right alongside the DualSense Edge, and that kind of filling a different sort of market with the premium controller. This device, the Q-Lite, would be kind of like I guess a coffee table accessory. So I can see a use case for this, where someone who maybe wants to play their PS5 without taking up their TV for maybe baseball season's going on, or you want to watch the football game that's on in the fall and the the winter time or something, you don't have to take up the
That's a good point. What's it gonna be like? You're gonna pay $200 for this thing, and you're gonna use it when you go to the bathroom, and you're in the middle of playing the game, or like he said, to watch TV and play the game, so you can watch the baseball game and play the game at the same time. Like, who's gonna pay $200 for that? Yeah, nah.
the TV to play the PS5, you can play this Q-Lite device that is accessing your PS5, but then have your TV tuned into the game.
Especially if I could just do it on my phone.
During football season with my Switch, I would play the Switch while also watching a game. Or even for like large families where the TV is divvied up for depending on who's watching what, but you still want to play your system. Yeah, to me, that at least makes sense to get one of these to have just around the living room or something there. Now, I do believe a way that Sony could maybe differentiate this a bit from other remote play or cloud-based systems is have some way for it to connect directly to the PlayStation 5 and kind of mirror what happened with the Wii U. Not necessarily the sales, although I feel like if Sony sold 13 million Q-Lites, they'd probably be ecstatic. But no, more or less make it so that the latency is lower and the picture quality is better by not bringing into the equation like your router or the internet or anything. Be able to just connect directly to the PS5 through wireless to give you the best possible experience, and you would need to get one of these Q-Lite devices to have it. But the fact that Sony has apparently so much hardware in the works right now does bring up some skepticism, I'll admit, with this device. Having a detachable disk drive PS5 coming out, things like new earbuds, and then even a PS5 Pro next year, and then also this Q-Lite device. Sony is producing a lot of, I'll say, questionable hardware at that time.
Yeah,
so
that's what I would call it, questionable hardware.
Q-Lite system, but the fact that Tom Henderson is saying, oh yeah, our sources are mentioning November as a release, well, that means that this thing would probably go into production over the summer, at which point it would probably show up with a picture from the factory and leak, and then we'll be kind of off and running to the holiday season. But let me know what you guys think about this one down below. Viewing this more as an accessory, like another controller, does that make more sense for its release?
Not for $200
at a more aggressive price point than what Logitech did with their G Cloud. Thanks guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.
Bruh. $200? I don't think so. For something that just connects to the PS5, you can't even use outside of the house. No. That's too much. That's crazy. What do you guys think? Is it crazy? To me, it's crazy. I am not excited about that. Won't be getting that, especially since I don't got a PS5. Let me know in the comments, guys. What do you think about that? What do you think about all this questionable hardware, as he called it, that PlayStation is putting out? What do you think about it? The detachable hard drive thing. Well, that we could see the future in that. But yeah, earbuds, like what? Nobody wants PlayStation earbuds except for the PlayStation fanboys, of course. But like, yeah, I don't know. Leave it down in the comments. Remember, please show Spawnwave some love. The video will be linked in the description. Please go over there, show them some love, hit the like, all that good YouTube stuff. Alright, y'all. See you on the next reaction. Deuces.
I'm hiding out, wilding out, cooling down, collecting thoughts till I find my route. And if they catch me, they'll be finding out what I'm about. Until then, I'm riding out. I'm hiding out, wilding out, cooling down, collecting thoughts till I find my route. And if they catch me, they'll be finding out what I'm about. Until then, I'm riding out. Check it out. I'm a desperado, I'm living it in real life. What's next to follow? I hit the bottle.